Hello, everybody. This is Rob Fredette with the podcast HODGEPOD. I have a great guest on this episode today. Her name is True Istina, and she is a musician, an artist, a singer, and she has been gracious enough to join me today on this episode. And True, welcome to my podcast. I'm looking forward to talking about your career because you have quite a musical career. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
All right. Well, great. So first of all, talk about how you got into the music business, and because you are on Apple and all the music platforms. So how did you get into the music business? And we can talk about your music, your influences, and other good stuff.
Yeah. So for me, my journey was a little bit different than a lot of other people. I've always been singing, dancing, acting since I was a little girl. I always did it with my family. It was just something I was always around. I loved the arts, always. But being an actual artist myself and being a songwriter, that came later on. That was something that True Istina was something I built because I had all these feelings and these emotions I didn't know what to do with. So I started putting them into songs, and they honestly helped me so much that I wanted to share them with other people. So me as a singer, always been one. But me as a songwriter, oh, she took some time because I was nervous to release her in the world.
So what's it like penning a song? What's that like? How do you get the inspiration or the mindset to do that? Because I'm sure it's not an easy thing. The final product is perfect, but how does that whole process start?
Yes, for me especially, I think that the reason I have associated with moons and stars and stuff like that with my even my music, and you hear it in my music, is because I work the best at night. I feel the most comfortable at night. I feel like all of my thoughts finally just settle. Like, I don't think about what do I have to get done right now? What did I do and I didn't do? It's just that moment where I'm really just there with myself and I can just express myself. And that's when things happen, honestly, is I sometimes will just have a voice recorder and I'll just start singing. That's usually how my songs happen, honestly.
Really? I'm a
Yeah.
morning person. I'm not a night person. I can stay up at night, but I'm a morning person as far as my mind and things. But yeah, it's weird how people have different times a day. So you said you do stuff on your phone or a recorder. How long does that process take?
It depends. I've finished songs within an hour before. It
An
really
hour?
Yes, there are some I can finish so quickly because some just come to me. Some of them are just something like, this is how I'm feeling. I have no other way of expressing it. I don't know how to say it. So it just comes out. That's usually how my songs come to be. Sometimes, it's more of a feeling that I build off of, but I can finish a song with music, harmonies, the actual lyrics, and everything, sometimes within an hour.
Prior to coming on, I have listened to some of your songs. One song I do like is New Life, the single New Life. That's a very good song, and you are on my Apple playlist, so you probably get that a lot, but I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. I really enjoyed your music. So talk about your evolution getting into recording and getting that first contract. What was that like when you got your first record contract?
Yes, absolutely. Well, with my music, I started really, like I said, I started as a singer. That was my thing. I was between the singer, dancer, actor. I was going to pick between the three. Songwriting was just something that kind of fell into my lap. It's something I started during COVID when, a lot of people were just stuck at home and I was struggling. I was alone. There was so much going through my head, but I couldn't understand what it meant or how to get through it or what I was really feeling. So it just felt like a jumble of emotions. So when I finally found a way to write them down in songs, it helped me clear my mind and really heal from it. And that's when I started songwriting. And I'll be honest, the songs were never supposed to come out, ever. They were just for me. They were something I literally just wrote because I needed to understand where I was and I knew I was not okay. So I needed something to help me feel better. And this was that thing. Because I listened to music at that time that wasn't really helping me. I loved it and it helped me feel understood, but it didn't give me hope to keep going. So that's why I started writing the songs I did. And so when people found my music, they're like, you should release this. This stuff is amazing. I'm like, really? You sure? What? No, 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 no. There's so many artists. They're amazing. I listen to music since I was a kid. I can't compare. And they're like, no, it's really good. I'm like, but it's too real. It's too raw. It's very vulnerable. I'm like, oh, do I want to do that? Do I want people to know how I'm feeling? Because I'm very much a person in my normal everyday life who's very to myself. I like to conserve my energy. I'm very much an introvert. at heart. So I'm not the one who usually is, sharing my emotions. I'm usually the one who's going to listen to other people and help them through their problems. That's just something I've always done. So when they said to release your emotions basically to the entire world, I'm like, no, 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 no way. But a couple weeks later, I realized how much my music had helped me and how far I'd come since when I'd started writing. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do that for someone else. Because if it can do that for me, there are more people who can't understand how they're feeling or just don't have the words to say how they're feeling. So I wanted to give that to someone else. And that's why I actually released my first album and my first songs.
So who do you get your inspiration from? What kind of genres? What kind of artists? What decades do you like? What genres? Back when I was growing up, there was probably like 8 genres. Now you can go on Apple Music, and I counted the other day, there's 52 different genres or categories for music. So it's really evolved. So what are some of your favorite your genres or artists?
Yeah, so I say I'm a pop alternative artist. That's just because they want me to have a label, and at some point I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give myself one. But like, I personally, it's more about a feeling. So like, I will take instruments from around the world. I'll be inspired from different music styles, different countries. I mean, I've always loved country. I loved Carrie Underwood growing up. I loved pentatonics. I loved Celtic Woman. I loved a mixture of genres, especially because my parents my mom was also a singer, so she did opera. So I had a lot of that influence. So as my dad always loved rock. And then she loved, the pop, the Whitney Houstons, and he loved more of the grunge. And I'm like, I got a mix of a little bit of everything. So it's more just about the feeling of the music for me than it is specifically a genre, which I think has helped me because I grew up around all different kinds.
Do you like what kind of grunge do you like? Any grunge groups that you like back in the day?
Oh, off the top of my head, oh,
That's all
that's
right.
hard.
No problem.
There's
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
There's a lot. That's like something that's the weirdest thing is we do like car trips and that's when we'll listen to music like that. When you're like, you gotta stay up, you gotta be awake, you gotta keep going. So we'll
Yeah,
play that.
today I was in the mood for 70s rock and roll on Sirius Satellite Radio. I was listening to that today this morning. So I get moods. Sometimes I listen to grunge. Today was 70s rock. That's pretty cool. Talk about some of your songs. Like I mentioned, New Life. That's one song I really like. How did that song come about? And like the final product always sounds great. So how long did it take you to do that song and put it into pen paper and then get in the studio and do it?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you because that song, even just now, I released a music video that I shot in Croatia for it recently. And I always loved that song. It always helped me feel more hopeful for the future. That song was really even a message to myself of like, you got this, keep going, you're almost there. And it's everyone else. So as much as like I want to make these songs for everybody else, like I'm also telling myself these messages. That's the one thing is like really when I'm writing my music, there's a reason I'm writing them. I'm not just writing them for anybody else or with any specific goal. It's just like, you need to hear this just as much as everyone else does. And that was one of that songs that I'm so proud of because it really is. It's about hope and moving forward and really, taking control of your new life.
That's a great message. Got to keep fighting. You got to keep persevering and moving forward. I love that. I love that. That's awesome. You said a video. How long does it take to do a video? Is that fun doing videos?
I love doing videos. They're so fun. I've done all different kinds, but I've never used a green screen. Everything we do is real. Every single shot in my music videos have always been real. I'm like, if the music's gonna be raw and authentic and real, the music video needs to be too. So I said, like, if we ever want a volcano in it, we better get on a helicopter and fly to Hawaii.
That's not a bad place to go.
Exactly. I know. I'm like, you know what? You want a volcano? Sure, I'll get you one. Don't worry, I got you.
So you've played at some pretty prestigious places. You played at the House of Blues Celebrity Center, and you've had performances in Las Vegas. What's that? How's that been? Because that's quite a ascension in your career. So you must be looking forward to bigger and better things.
Always. And I'm so grateful for the venues I've even been able to play and reach as many people as I can. That's the one thing is that there are a lot of artists now, especially like on the internet. So the fact that you get to play live and see people and people in the audience, cheering you on, it's the best feeling. It's so different being in person than it is just seeing people through a screen. So it's amazing to play live and, perform for them and share my music and literally my own lyrics and really like connect these messages to people. I also got the opportunity to play in Croatia, which was So amazing. It was such a, I don't know, it was that moment that was just like, I've been waiting for this because my family's from Croatia, and that's why True Istina is Croatian. And so everything just leading up to that and being able to play there and just in front of people that, I've been around my whole life and the culture and everything like that, it was such a blessing.
Talk about your name, True. How did the name True come about? Because that's a cool name.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's a couple reasons. Well, first, okay, yeah. We got to break this down a little bit because there
That's
really is.
okay.
There's a couple reasons. The first thing is that when I started writing songs, like I said, it was a very vulnerable place for me. And so I felt that if I used my real name, I would not have the confidence to release them. So this was almost something where like my whole thing is creating confidence. So I'm trying to build myself up to be strong enough and say, yes, these are my words. Yes, these are my lyrics. This is what I want to say to you, even though I'm not ready yet. I'm going to say to you eventually,
Yep.
like all these words, they're in these songs, like they're actually things I'm trying to say. But that's one thing. And then the second thing was True Istina, which means truth in Croatian, is because my baba and nona were the ones who supported me on my music journey. They're my grandparents, and they immigrated from Croatia to the US. And they've been amazing. They've always inspired me, always supported me. They've been there since the very first moment. And even when I didn't believe in myself fully or felt like, maybe this is the wrong path, maybe I don't deserve this, they were always there to just be like, no, this is who you are, and you do deserve this.
That's an awesome. I'm glad I asked that question. That is amazing. That's awesome. So I do some research before I have my guests on, and on the upcoming 100, pop and alternative phenom True Estina blast onto the music scene with debut single For Fun. That was years ago. Let's see here, 2021. So you were like you're getting that pub or the publicity and the recognition. That's quite an honor to be noticed in that regard.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been so grateful for everything because even just starting out, like I had no idea where this was going to go. I was always a singer, but being a songwriter, it's really I'm taking everything in my own hands, and it was so different. And
Mhm.
so I had absolutely no idea if this would, make a splash, if this would even get noticed, because like I said, there's a lot of artists, and that's just the truth. So when people started noticing my music or were really connecting to it, and I mean, I got messages from people saying like, "Thank you, this gave me one more day." And that was the biggest gift. I'm like, that is the goal. And like the fame, the money, all that stuff, that will come if I am in the right place. Like, if this is what I'm meant to do and I'm connecting with people, all that will come. This will be my life. But just helping people and just knowing that I made that difference, or even just that one person that, I gave them one more day, which could make a huge difference, it's incredible. It's such a gift.
Your energy is infectious. I will say that it is infectious. So that is awesome. Awesome. So what about what is it like when you perform in front of an audience? What is a typical day like when you have like a concert or a show at night? What's that like? Because I'm always fascinated by what happens. Do you like rest? Do you do voice preparing for your concert, or what's a day like when you're getting ready to perform it? Probably in the evening or whenever you're performing.
Yes. So those days, I like to do is I like to drink tea, of course, in the morning for my throat, just to get it ready and everything for the day. Because I also, as much as I have the performance, usually there's sound check, and you can go through that two, three, four times. So you have to be ready for that as well. And also, interviewers or people talking, like you just have to be ready for all of that. So I usually have tea in the morning, and then I have like 2,000 songs on my Spotify playlist, and I will just go through them and sing along, and I'll just like sing with them, just kind of, get ready for the day. I always kind of do that. That's my
Oh.
morning routine. So I love doing that. And then after that, I'll usually just kind of rest a little bit, and then I'll do some warm ups, and then I'll take a break. Like for a while, like if I'm doing like hair and makeup or anything for the show, all that, I will just kind of rest my voice, not really talk. So then when I get to the venue, if I do have to talk to people or if I do have to do sound check, my voice is ready because it takes a lot of energy just like talking. It strains your voice, and people don't talk about it enough, but it's true. So
Hmm.
you got to choose your battles.
Yeah, sound check. It sounds so easy, but the sound check, you have to feel it. You have to feel in your own mind that it's perfect before you go out there. When a sound check starts, then you are like getting the feel for the acoustics, the venue, your surroundings, the people on stage with you, your musicians. all that has to come into play because it's your decision when everything sounds good, right? Perfect.
Yes. And also, I'll be honest, there are times where even after sound check, if the sound check goes perfectly, the mic could still go out. The speakers will go out. There will be an echo. And I performed with all of those. That's the one thing that performing live has really prepared me for. Is that because I performed so often and I got used to it, I can handle when that stuff happens and not let it just completely shut down the show. Like a lot of artists would freeze with that because it's hard to deal with, especially if you have a great sound check, you're ready, you're like, okay, everything's great. The mic goes out right before your performance, your speakers are delayed, that stuff happens, or you can't hear yourself. And it happens more often than you think. So you have to be ready. And that's one thing that I've learned from doing so many live shows that now I'm like, I feel prepared no matter what comes at my way.
Wow. So the sound check is vital, right? I mean, it's vital.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. But you still got to be ready because anything can happen.
Huh. That yeah, I like the inner workings. I like the nuts and bolts, the daily blocking and tackling of just something like what you do. So, what's it like when you perform in front of an audience and you see the energy? That must be a great thrill for you as well.
Absolutely. That's one thing too, though, with the audience is like we feed off the audience. So like when we have people come to the show and they're super energetic, you feel it on the stage. So there's times where you have to build your own energy and get them hyped up because you know sometimes there's those audiences. Be honest, there are. That's
Yes,
something you
there
gotta
are.
learn. There are those audiences that just want to sit there and be like, "Yes, this is a show." And then there's some are like, "Woohoo, you got this!" You know that type of feeling. So you got to be ready for both, but it's really just about the feeling of the music. You got to feel it, you got to bring it, and you got to show your message.
How about how long are your shows? You have a set time, and how do you set your playlist? Do you do things differently? Because I like all the playlists and the set lists and all that go into a concert. So how does that happen?
Different ones, and well, different venues have different rules. And if it's like a showcase versus a performance versus a gig, those are all different. So it really depends on them. And there's even been times where I performed and they're like, "Do you want to come up and sing another song?" I'm like, "Okay, sure, I guess. Why not?" It's just that's the kind of world we're in. And sometimes, people get sick or they cancel. So you just always got to be ready. And it really depends. It doesn't really have a set thing of of course, I have my normal set of songs I sing, but that changes as I come out with new music or what I'm promoting or, which venue I'm at or the environment too. The audience is a huge part of what songs I play.
Do you have any tour dates coming up in the foreseeable future that you could maybe share with the audience?
Ooh, I can't announce yet.
Okay, we're gonna.
I can't say it yet, but just look out for my Instagram and all of my
Okay.
website and stuff. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll put that on my episode here where to find you and all that good stuff. Talk about also in your music career. Have you gotten any inspiration or feedback from somebody that you've maybe looked up to in the music industry that have heard your stuff? And is there any words of encouragement they've given you?
There's some artists that I've even been surprised they even know who I am. And I'll be honest, it's pretty crazy. Like, this world is very small and we don't think about it because, you see celebrities and you're like, you'll never touch them. But, like, it's so weird, like, being in the rooms with them and stuff like that. Like, that's normal now. And it even blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, really? I was in that room with that person? I got a photo with them? Really? But, like, I love it. And it's thrilling just to see, like, they're like, "Keep going, you got this, like, you're doing amazing." I'm like, "Wow, thank you." I'm
Wow.
like, I don't know sometimes. I'm like, sometimes I still, I deal with that doubt and self-doubt, so it's like, it's amazing to hear from other people who, are just as passionate about what they do that, like, just keep going. I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that."
I wouldn't be good like that. I'd be like asking, like, "Can I get a selfie with you?" Like the big time performers. I'd be that guy, and they throw me out. So I'd be that guy. Talk about some of your other songs and albums that you've come out with over your singing career, because you're on Apple. What's it like? I know you're on Apple as well. So what's that like? Just seeing your stuff out there. That must be quite an honor.
It's really crazy. Like, sometimes, like, we'll even tell someone about my music, and they're like then they'll just go watch the music video or play the song, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I love this song." I'm like, "Wow, thank you," because sometimes it blows my mind. I'm like, it's actually out there, like, people can look at them and stuff like that, especially with my new song, The Word Is has been in the works for about a year, so the fact that, like, now it's like everyone it's for brand new for them. But for me, I'm like, I've had it forever. I'm like, on to the next. But for them, they're like, this is a brand new song. It's so good. I'm like, wow, thank you. I appreciate that. Cause like I've had it for so long. That's one thing is that, getting everything ready for the song and like, getting this. I have a second album I'm working on. So
Hmm.
yes, I'm super excited. And this is kind of the start of that is that the word is like, it's me now. Because my last album I released when I was 16. So it's been 4 or 5 years. So things have changed. I've changed. I've grown. And I think that can even be seen in my music and my style. And especially with my first album, when I first started recording, I knew nothing about production. I went there with just songs, like songbooks. But now I co-produce every single song. I'm there for the mixing process. I'm there for every single part of it, from the beginning to the end, harmonies, everything in between. I love being involved with the process because you really get to see what I'm talking about and where my feelings are coming from.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. What is different from when you started to what now? But you're totally immersed into it now. So that's the confidence that you've gotten in the experience. That's invaluable.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with my new stuff, like I'm very proud of it because I've seen even my growth from then to now. Like I can see that I've grown as a person. I can see that I've grown as a songwriter. I've grown as a producer, and I'm really proud of it. Honestly, I'm like, wow, just looking at where I came from to now, it's amazing because a lot of people don't get that. It's almost like you have to start somewhere. So I'm glad I get to see where I came from.
I've had musicians on my podcast before, and I've always been very complimentary of people who can get up on a stage and perform. I wouldn't be very good at it. I'd freeze and I'd be looking at the audience. I'm not very good. I lose my train of thought, the line. So for you to get up on stage and perform, that's a great gift that you have because I don't have that gift. So I can do podcasts, but to sing in front of an audience, that is very impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you ever get nervous when you go on stage?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, yes, yes. Because like I said, there are times when you don't know what's going to happen when you're up there. Anything can happen. So of course there's always that little bit of like nerve in my head like what if the mic goes out? What if the speakers go up? I'm like, "No. I got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to connect with the audience. Like that's what I'm here for." And that's what I focus on. It's really I focus on that so I ignore the nerves. Cuz
Yeah.
that's the only way.
Yeah. So like when you're on stage, the nerves are there, and then do you get like in a flow and it's just like it comes natural? Is that the way it happens?
Absolutely. Yep. That's always what happens. Like right before I get on stage, I'll be calm and then I'll get on stage. I'm like, I'm a little bit nervous. And then it'll like flow out and I'm good.
You got it down to a science, your energy. And you also have what, 890,000 followers on YouTube. That's
Yeah,
that's an insane number. That's awesome.
thank you. I know. I'm very proud of just what I've built with my music and stuff like that. And from the music to the music videos to everything in between, like being involved with every part of this process has been honestly a gift. And I'm so grateful I have been. A lot of artists, they go with a big label and then they got things built for them and stuff like that. But for me, I personally, with my music, I'm like, I want to build my music. I want everything to relate to this message. I want people to feel it, no matter if they're watching a music video, whether they're listening to the song, whether they're looking at the lyrics. I want to connect with them. So that's something that's always been really important to me that all the way around in my music and in my career, that people feel my messages.
You said you had a big playlist of a lot of songs on your playlist. What was like maybe the last song or two that you listened to today, yesterday that you can remember? Don't mean to put you on the spot because I always like when I talk to people about their last song on their playlist. What was like a song or two that you may remember?
Oh, okay.
You can
Last
get back to
song.
that if you want. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I always like that.
It's
I find
okay.
that fascinating.
The last movie I watched was the K-pop Demon Hunters, the one that's on Netflix. The music was really good in the movie. Like that's something that the messages in the songs, I'm like, oh, I feel that. And like that's what I appreciate in music and art and movies and all that is like when you feel it in the music. So I'm like, those songs, I think those are the last ones I listened to because I just watched it super recently and it was actually really good.
Hmm. One thing I say about music, I'm a consumer of music and I have my favorite groups from my 80s and 90s and 70s years, but I always say music can turn your mood from having a bad day to having a great day just by hearing a 3-minute song. Your mood changes. Do you ever get that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, my mom was a music therapist, so I absolutely know that. And I always loved psychology. That was something I always, did AP Psych in high school and stuff because I loved learning about that, about the development, how music really does affect us. And even if we don't notice it, it's subconscious. Like these lyrics that we listen to, even if we're like, oh, it's just a song, it's never just a song. Every single song will have a little bit of an impact on us.
I like the instruments, like certain instruments, certain segments in songs, just the sound, the quirkiness of songs. I just like that. The they're just songs that just flow very nicely and that can put you in a great mood. I'm sure everybody has their favorite song. So one of my favorites is Genesis Misunderstanding and then The Cure Friday I'm in Love. Anytime I hear those songs, it turns my mood 360. What's some other things about your music career that you like to discuss that maybe we have not covered?
Oh, I don't know. I think that mainly my newest song, The Word is something I'm super proud of. And even the music video, because we built this together, me and my creative director, we basically took the song and we're like, we know exactly how it's going to feel. And we're going to show that in the music video. And we have a short film coming out for the song that explains a little bit more of the story and has more acting in it and everything. So I'm super excited about that because I'm very proud of that song and how we built it out and like how it really, every single part of it really expresses the message of the song. And I'm so proud of it. As well as, I didn't even mention this yet, but I'm doing a show called Loving Your Life. It's on Acquire Plus on YouTube. And I have new music that's kind of being dropped in there. It's
Cool.
not officially on Spotify yet, but there are some new songs for the show, and I'm super excited about them. And yes, people check out Acquire Plus, Loving Our Life. They will hear some new music that is unreleased.
That is great. You mentioned just now about doing a short film. That's going to be a great way to connect with your audience too. There's a connection there for you and your audience to see maybe you on a different level or different side. You're singing, but maybe the short film will have like you talking about the song. I think that'll add an extra layer for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I always was an actress. I'm a trained actress since young, so I love acting. I always loved playing characters that were like either a piece of myself or different, but I just loved exploring that because it helped me understand myself a little bit better. So this was really, I was tapping into that part of me that's like, you know what? I don't care what people think. I'm just going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be honest. I was tapped into that. And I think people will see that during the short film.
So acting has helped you in your singing?
Yes, absolutely. I think even with the music videos and everything like that, I can tap into when I wrote the songs through acting. So, like, even with my songs like Wasting My Time or Fantasy, I was just remembering what it felt like when I wrote the song. And that's something that I kind of brought into it.
When you're doing a video and you're doing your video shots, and how long does it take to do a video? Like when you're doing it, does it take a day, 2 days, or long does that take?
So, the minimum we've done is 7 hours.
Hmm.
And that was my first one ever. That was for fun. The max we've done is Wasting My Time, and that was 3 days. That was a 3-day shoot because we had beach scene, we had a water tank, we had a rain room, we had a light stage, we had everything you could imagine in that show. So that one, that definitely took the longest. The ones in Croatia I filmed, they took a day or two for each one. And then The Word is, we shot in 2 days, but we shot the first day some of the short film. So yeah,
Wow. So it's going to be on Acquire. What the short film's going to be on what YouTube channel again?
Acquire Plus.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll put that on the notes here for the podcast. That's going to be good. How long is that going to be?
We are on episode 3 right now. We've filmed season 1. So season 2 is going to be a little bit more about my journey as a songwriter and the release of my new music.
That is awesome. So YouTube Acquire Plus, look for that coming up or go to it. So you're definitely making a positive impact with your music and making a difference. And what else can you talk to your fans about? Have you had fans come up to you about your music and being able to connect with some of your fans, like on a personal level?
Absolutely. And I love it. I love when like little girls come up to me because I was that kid. Like I would go to Carrie Underwood concerts. I think I went for my 8th birthday And I went as like, her fan club and everything. It was my birthday. And I went for a show and I was so excited. So, so excited. So having little girls come up to me and be like, I really love your song for fun, or I love the music video, or I listen to it all the time. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like it means so much just because I was that little girl. And I remember, always watching music videos on Vivo and stuff. Like I was that little girl. And so just seeing them, it brings me back.
Well, I'm going to be one of your fans too. I'm going to be watching your videos as well and your music. I'm a 80s music connoisseur, so I grew up in the 80s, so I'm going to be a follower of yours as well. Do you
You.
follow any 80s music at all?
Oh yes. I follow
What do you
all
like?
different kinds of music. Oh.
You like Michael Jackson?
Oh yeah, of course. Motown, anything related to that. We have a record player, so yeah, we got the classics on the old records, and some of them are like vintage, like ones of like Jackson's 5, like ABC and stuff. Like I have all those in records and I love it. And I have my CD player. Oh yeah, I was always that kind of kid. I never had music digitally till I was older, so I always had it in either records or VHSs, or I had it with DVDs or CDs, and I always loved it.
Yeah, back in the day, there were albums in the 80s, and then like 85 or 86 CDs came out, and that was like a luxury because they were very expensive back then. And it was like if you had a CD when they first came out, you had money, you could afford a CD. And then that kind of waned in the 90s. So yeah, CDs are great. I still have some CDs as well, but digitally, with digital music here, with you're on Apple, you're reaching the masses. That is, anybody can find you, anybody, or Spotify.
And that's the one thing that's crazy is like I of course want to get my songs into like a CD and record because I was always that kid who collected them. Like I have most of Carrie Underwood's, if not all of them, her albums. So I was always that kid. So I would love to do that. But just seeing even like my reach of like different countries and countries I've never even been to, listening to my music, I'm like, wow, they know me over there. I'm like, I haven't even stepped foot in that country, but they know me. I'm like, they know me before I know them. Like, what? It's crazy.
That is cool because you're making an impression. It's going to continue to grow, but it's really cool. What do you like about Carrie Underwood? Because I love her on when she sings those Sunday Night Football entrance for the Sunday Night Football. She really does a great job on that cover for Joan Jett. So
Oh, yes, absolutely. Love when she does that. I always loved her as a singer. She always made me feel like I was a part of the story, and her voice is amazing. Incredible. Her live and her on the record or CD is like, it's the same. It's literally the same. And that is something I strive for. I'm like, I want people when they listen to my music to also hear the same artist when they're seeing me live because I'm like, that's what you connect with. I'm going to show you the same thing, but now I'm going to give you all the emotions and make you feel it.
yeah, that's the key. I mean, when people are feeling your music, that means that you have that connection and you're going to continue to grow fans, which you have been. And I think that's really great. Also, you've also said when I write music, I speak my truth. I only write what's real. My feelings are real, and that is why some of my songs are very deep. That sums it up right there. That's pretty deep right there.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with my first album, I was split between two sides. The one side that was more realistic and more like I wanted to connect with people and meet them where they were, even if they're not having a great day or even if, things aren't going great, I wanted them to feel understood. But I also wanted another side where like my songs like For Fun or A New Life or RMD or Not Me, like I wanted those songs to also connect in a way of like, you can get back up. Like this is not the end. Like, yes, this is where you are. And now that you understand where it is, you know how to get back up. You know how to rebuild. And that's what I wanted for people.
Mhm. You also say, I hope the music helps you feel more confident, be kinder to yourself, and be strong, just strong, however you take that, because strength is the only thing that can get you through anything. I love that saying. You got to be strong because sometimes life is hard. And I love the way you say, be kinder to yourself. Sometimes we're hard on ourselves and we need to be kinder to ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with me, I've learned like I'll be honest, I was definitely a perfectionist because like I said, it was a very vulnerable thing to release my own lyrics. Me as a singer, I could make everything perfect. Me as a songwriter, I'm never going to be perfect. So that was one thing is like it was very hard for me to release it. So I had to remind myself I'm like you're doing this for a reason. Remember why you're doing this. Remember why you're fighting for this. Remember why you care about this. And don't let yourself get in your head, honestly, because sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes I still struggle with, I'm like, oh, I can make that a little bit better. My voice was better this week. I should have recorded it this week and not last week. That type of thing. And that still happens, I'll be honest. But I just really remind myself of like, this is why you're doing this. Remember your messages. Remember your why.
Your career is on the ascension. So do you ever look back when you have quiet time and look back before your first record and go, whoa?
I do. I really do. Sometimes, I'll be honest, I forget how much I've done. Yeah, I do. I'm like, there are times I'm like, you know what? I just got to work on this and work and work. I'm like, but I did all that already. Like, really? That was me? I did all that? Like, there's times where people are like, oh, do you remember this photo? You were at this show. I'm like, oh, right, I did do that. I already did that. I'm like, that's done. Okay, now on to the next. I'm like, there's some things I'm just like, I forget how much I've already accomplished at this age because people always tell me like, you're only 20, you've got so much more to go. But which is true. But for my career, it's like I've already accomplished so much and I have to almost remind myself because there's times I do forget. I'm like, you've come a long way. Like, even though you're not at the Grammys just quite yet, you're getting there because you've already worked your way up to here.
No, you'll reach the Grammys. Absolutely, you will. I have a Rolling Stones t-shirt on right now. They've been together, 62 years? So I wonder if they remember stuff they did 50 years ago. When I asked that question, like, they probably don't remember half the stuff they did when they see it on video, but it's when you look back and you see where you are now, I think that's a tribute to your hard work. And you're definitely connecting. True Istina has been my guest on this podcast episode. She's been gracious enough to join me. She even had to juggle her schedule a little bit for me. And I want to thank you very much, True, for coming on. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and I'm looking forward to seeing your career take off even more. You're on my Apple playlist. I can't thank you enough. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I loved the questions and the conversation. It was perfect.
So if you had one thing to say to my audience out there, what would it be? Just a positive note, something that you want to spread some good news.
Create confidence and start with yourself. Build yourself up so when people try to knock you down, you're still going to stand up.
I agree. When people try to knock you down, that's just outside noise. Ignore the noise and you'll be fine. Ignore the noise, but that's a great lesson to do. True, thank you very much. I can't wait to see your career even go farther, and I'm really honored that you came on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.